Hey, Hugh Taylor here, coming to you from my messy home office to talk to you today about public relations strategies. This is the first in what I hope will be a series of videos on public relations strategies, and we're going to start with one of the most important aspects of public relations strategy, which is landing the pitch. But first, let's just talk a little bit about what is a public relations strategy. Now, I don't have a monopoly on the definition here. I'm going to give you my take on what a public relations strategy is all about. But I would say this is a good definition. A public relations strategy is a systematic, planned process of messaging and media outreach that achieves a specific communications objective. Now, can you tell that I went to business school because that's a lot of words and a lot of hot air, right? But basically the idea is you have to go beyond the basic notions like we need press coverage or we have to send out press releases. These are the messages I get every day, like, hey, we need a press release. Okay, why? Why do you need a press release? What is your strategy? What are you trying to achieve? You have to have a goal. Well, you don't have to have a goal, but if you have a goal, then your public relations process and spending will help move your business forward. Otherwise, you run the risk of spending money on public relations without it aligning with a particular business goal. That is the key thing. You have to align your public relations activities and budget with a bigger business goal. So here's some examples. So you might have a public relations strategy with the goal of getting local coverage that leads to local brand awareness. Ideally, public relations should help your business grow in some way. So if your customers are local, let's say you're like a medical practice, so focus on local media, and that will hopefully increase your local awareness and therefore your business volume. Alternatively, your strategy might be to establish company people as industry thought leaders. This can be very important for companies that need to assert thought leadership to help them sell their product. This is big in tech and other more like solution-oriented businesses. If your founder or spokesperson is a thought leader, that can influence potential customers to select you for their business. Alternatively, you might want to be a voice in a national conversation. This is often useful in nonprofits. So if you can become a voice in a national conversation, then you can get attention from certain quarters, you can bolster your credibility, and you can advance the goals of your organization. Or your strategy might be something as simple as align your media coverage with your marketing objectives. So if your marketing objective is to increase your search engine rankings, then public relations can be part of that execution, getting backlinks and references and so forth. But these are just some examples of how to focus public relations as a strategy on advancing a particular business objective. So one of the most critical elements of executing a public relations strategy is landing the pitch, getting reporters to pay attention to you. Pitch is a fancy word for sending a message or calling a reporter or an editor and getting them interested in you. Okay, because once you have a strategy, you have to get yourself out there, pitching the media, selling to the media. And it is like a sales process. You're selling them yourself or your business. If you don't land your pitch with the media, you will not be able to execute your public relations strategy. So I have developed what I call the ABCs of landing your pitch. Okay? And they go like this. A is for attention. Get the reporter's attention with an amazing news hook. You're not going to get into a conversation with a reporter if you can't catch her or his attention. This usually means having some kind of what we call news hook, something to hook their attention, like a fish hook catches a fish. So example might be, you've got the first app that'll ever predict cryptocurrency prices. Okay, that'll get their attention. As opposed to if your pitch is, we're the 350th crypto coin to launch this week, that's not a hook. that's not going to get their attention. There's a concept in PR called FBO, first, best, only. It's ideal if you can be the first of something, the best, or the only. That way, the reporter might pay attention if you're talking to the right reporter, by the way. So if you're in a cryptocurrency talking to someone who writes about sports or theater, you're not going to get their attention. You have to have an alignment between their what they call beat as a reporter and your pitch. So that's A. A is for attention. B is for brag. Brag about yourself to the reporter without being gross. But you have to brag. You have to have something to brag about. Meaning, like in this case, let's say the app is correct 89% of the time. Now, if you say you're correct 100% of the time, you might be pushing a credibility barrier there. Like, reporter will be like, no, you're not. You're not. No one's correct 100% of the time. With something like that. But if you have to have something you can boast about, like, you're the champion, you have the most of something, you're the best at something. Now, of course, there's a question of tone. You can't be like, ridiculous about it, but you have to have something that you can brag about. And then C is for care. You have to explain why the reporter should care about your story. Because you have to sort of think about it like any other sales pitch or any other real conversation, even a conversation with a friend. Like if you go up to a friend and say, hey, I just won a race. I just ran a marathon. I won the race. They might say, okay, good for you. Well, why do they care about that? Because you might need to say something like, I won the race, because I promised my mother before she died that I'd win this race. Oh, that's cool. So all of a sudden you have a connection. You have to have some reason why the reporter should care about your story. So in this case, we're just saying like our app will help crypto investors beat the odds. Oh, so that's what reporters sometimes like to write about. And the caring part should come from your understanding of what the reporter is interested in. And this is the essence, one of the essential points of public relations. You have to form a relationship with the reporter based on what the reporter does for a living. The reporter writes stories with the goal of getting a lot of people to read them so that they can get ratings and circulation and clicks and so forth. If you can't address that need of the reporter will not care about your story. So you have to kind of put yourself in the reporter's head and think about what his or her audience is interested in and speak to that, and then they will care. Now, we have a great way you can learn more about this. We've just published a free ebook, which is also available as a paperback, by the way, on Amazon. It's called Stop Being Invisible, and it goes into depth on the ABCs of pitching. And it has a lot of examples of press release and step-by-step guidance on executing public relations strategies. So I invite you to check it out. There's a link in the description below. You can check it out and take a look for yourself. In any event, we're here to help. We are commsfactory.net. We can work with you on press release writing and public relations strategies. I invite you to check out the site and hope to help you learn more about it. And I wish you luck in your public relations endeavors, and let us know if we can help you. Thanks.